What's going on, guys? Got something a little bit different on the dyno tonight. Don't see a lot of these around. This is a 2012 Chevy Caprice, so it's a police car that I believe this guy picked up at an auction. Pretty cool deal. It's got some 5th gen Camaro wheels on it, some 5th gen SS wheels. So he's got just a couple bolt-ons. He's got a set of long tube headers on it, and he had a custom 2.5-inch dual exhaust with an X-pipe built all the way to the tailpipes, and then it's just got a cold air tube on it, cold air box. So I wrote up a little bit of a tune on what was in the tank, so I'll talk fuels. As you can see, I got something going on here. These things are cool because these police cars were flex fuel with an actual sensor. They actually had a flex fuel sensor on them from GM. And, you know, unlike the trucks, some of the flex fuel trucks from like 2008, 2013, you know, kind of those ranges were flex fuel, but they were virtual. So they didn't use a sensor. They inferred the ethanol content based on fuel trims, you know, what the O2 sensors were feeding back. This actually has a sensor on it. So I got this thing dialed in on whatever's in the tank. I'm assuming it's 91. He's from Wisconsin. Most of the Wisconsin guys are 91. It's sometimes it's hard in some areas in Wisconsin. We're in northern Illinois. You cross the border into Wisconsin, and it can be hard to find 93 with the 10% ethanol, which does make more power. So most of the 91 is non-ethanol, and some of it is 10%, but whatever. The lower octane between 91 versus 93, the lower octane 91 definitely hampers power, and you definitely can't run as much timing. So I'm assuming that's what it is based on the timing I'm at. Low 20s, 20, 22, which is pretty low for just even a bolt-on deal like this. Normally I'm like 24, 25. So it may not even be 91. It might even be 89. I'm not sure. I didn't ask him. Kind of a little late at night. It's like 10:30 right now. I don't want to call the guy. Bother him this late at night. But it is what it is. So he didn't ask me to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because the car's got a sensor on it, and I drain enough of these things and do enough of this. I got a quick and easy setup here. So this car's got a Schrader valve on the fuel rail, so I just plug my little dealie in here, fire up the engine. This little valve here just got a little petcock valve on this thing, and drain it into some cans. So it had about 3/4 of a tank, so it's going to take me a little bit, but while I'm talking here in the video and explaining what's going on, actually I'm going to switch this over. So this is where I'm at so far. So because I do a lot of LS tuning, this has an E38 PCM, same as a 5th gen Camaro SS, I know where to be for a baseline. So I can go in, write up everything, change everything I need to change, even for, you know, I already know what I need to change for the headers and the cold air, even before I do one pull. So that blue run was kind of my baseline. It was a little fat, so I leaned it up. I tried to play with the timing a little bit, from the red to the green, and then the green and the yellow are the same tune, just back to back. This does have a stock thermostat in it, so when these cars are stock thermostat, on hot summer days with the AC running, they will run hot, like 212, 215, 220 even. So I wanted to get some coolant temperature in it, so I did a back-to-back pull to get the coolant temp up over 200 degrees, just to see where the timing was going to be happy or wasn't going to be happy, and it was not happy. So I did pull some timing out of the the coolant temp modifier table, because I was trying to push as much timing through this thing as I could with coolant temperatures in 190, mid 190s. So I'm kind of getting carried away there with calibration talk, but that's what I had to do, and that's why I did back-to-back pulls. So now what I'm going to do is, because I did make some changes to the power enrichment, I want to make sure that if he ever does, he didn't mention this to me that he would run E85 or wanted to run flex fuel, whatever. But because the car's got it, I want to make sure that it's operating properly with my calibration in. So that's what I'm doing right now, draining this fuel out. like I said, we keep E85 on hand. I'm gonna drain it completely down, and I'll probably just put like 2-ish gallons in there, just enough to get the ethanol content up to maybe 60. All I really need is 60, 70%, and we're gonna get 90% of the gains. I'll be able to make sure that the fuel curve is still dialed in properly when it goes into power enrichment, and the MAF curve is dialed in properly fuel trim wise for cruising. So the fuel trims were really close, even with that different cold air pipe on it, that cold air tube and that air box. The fuel trims were right at just under zero, so we were right where they needed to be. So I didn't have to make a whole lot of changes there. But I want to make sure that if he does ever, again, based on how low the timing is, that where I have to be for timing, based on how low I'm at, I think we're going to pick some power up with the E. Sometimes on the LS3 stuff, the rectangular port stuff, you don't really pick up a whole lot going from 93 to E. Sometimes it's only like 5 wheel, but because the fuel in it seems to be very low octane and I'm not able to put a whole lot of timing in it, I think we're going to see a decent chunk of power gain here. So I'm going to finish draining this out. I'll put the camera back on the stand. I'll get it dialed in. I'll video the last 1 or 2 pulls, and we'll see where we're at on E85. Just as I suspected, we picked up a decent chunk of power going to that, not E85, about 75%, about E75. So look at that. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see, you know, just a bolt-on deal picking up that kind of power. That's awesome. But like I suspected, because I was so hampered on the timing, you know, normally, again, on 93 octane, you know, I'm referencing, again, I've only done a couple of these Caprices, and they were street tunes. This is the first one I've ever had on a dyno, I'll admit that. But again, because the engine's so similar to an L90, I should say more like an L99, I kind of know where they usually run on 93 octane with bolt-ons. And normally I'm 25, 26. And this one was coming in low 20s, 20, 21, 22, you know, that's it. So now I'm back up to, you know, 25 to 27, and look where we ended up here. 360, 380 torque. So you can see we picked up, you know, 14 on the tire, power, and same torque, 14 torque. So that's pretty awesome. You know, cars are already equipped with a flex fuel sensor, so you know, I did reconfigure the GM timing tables, you know, to kind of do what I think it should do, versus I think they had it only adding a degree of timing. We can take a look at that, actually. We'll take a look at this one more time, just so you guys can get an idea. So I'll go back. That 346, that was that last run that I did on camera on the gasoline. And then these are the working runs. So this first one I did, it was real fat. I'd adjust the PE table down a little bit. And the timing, I had it like 3 degrees adding. So I was still like just like 24, 25. I leaned it up a little bit more here. Got it a little leaner. And then this, I added another degree of timing and leaned it up even more to where we're at now. So that's, you can tell that's where it's happy. I mean, look at how much it gained. That's a significant jump, you know, we're making, you know, we're still only making, you know, mid 300s here to gain 16 wheel. That's a chunk, that's a pretty big chunk. That's 5%. That's a pretty big chunk of power, just, again, for just taking advantage of what the car is already equipped with. So My battery's gonna die here. Hopefully we can get through this, but so you can see now that first pull I did, which was that the red run, it was like 0.81, 0.80. It definitely liked running lean on the E85. I leaned it way up, and I had it fat on the gasoline just because it wasn't just not taking any timing, and usually it take a little more time. But you can see the timing now, 25. This is typically where I end up on a rectangular port deal, like an LS3 or L99 in a Camaro on 93 octane for timing. So now I'm kind of back to where, you know, I thought we should be. But again, if the fuel quality's not there, the fuel quality's not there. But now we got fuel quality, we got octane. Now we can put some timing in it. So, yeah, that's looking good. So we're gonna run with that. So factory, it's really strange, and we'll kind of nerd out a little bit about the calibration here. So factory, this is how I set it up. I smoothed everything out, you know, I did kind of a blocky deal, but this is the GM table. So they're actually only adding, you know, so we're in the 0.8, between 0.72 to 0.8. We're kind of, you know, starting at 0.7, ramp it to 0.8 at peak torque, ramp back down to 0.7 up near peak RPM where I'm hitting it. You can see they're just not adding any timing up there. So I think I'm ending at 0.76, there'd be nothing. There'd be absolutely no timing added on the stock calibration with E85. Why they do that, I have no idea. Maybe because the SAE power numbers need to come in the same, both fuels, and then for, I don't know what they're doing up here, why they'd want to add so much timing down here. So I just smoothed all this up, and they're taking a whole ton of time. They're actually taking timing away. This is another thing I see a lot of on flex fuel trucks and stuff, and I don't know if this is some kind of EPA trick for, again, for fuel economy. They don't want these things to get better fuel, or they need to see a certain amount of fuel economy. I don't know. I don't know the tricks the government plays with the manufacturers and all that crap that goes on, but they're actually pulling timing in these cruising ranges on E85. Why? I have no idea. That seems completely backwards to me. So I have it adding a couple degrees, adding a bunch at the top, and that's getting to where we are now. It's getting us to where we're now. I bumped this up a little bit too. I dropped that down to 75% because once you're at 75% ethanol, you're all in on your timing. You don't need to be 85% to reap the benefits. Even 50%, I'll set that to 70. 50% ethanol, I will set that 70% of the flex fuel table. Anyway, that's where I'm at now. Again, I've been doing this for 20 years. And that's how I set them up. And obviously per application, but that's pretty much how I end up on timing with flex fuel. On an NA deal, you know, when it comes to boosted stuff, then you might end up adding way more timing depending on boost levels and whatever. So you can see injectors were kind of up there, but there's still enough injector here. These flex fuel engines have bigger injectors in them. I'm assuming this probably has like ZL1 injectors already from the factory. That's usually what they do, is like the 50, whatever, 54 pound an hour, whatever you're gonna call them. GM rates them, you know, at 58 PSI when they call them a 54 or whatever they are. 52, whatever the ZL1s. I'm assuming that's what it is. Fuel pump, we're at like 87. I'm data logging that right here, 88. So you can see that we're starting to get close to the max on this stuff. There's still some injector left, but this is all perfectly safe for this car to run. I think there's enough room here you could run full 85%. I mean, the fuel pump would be probably right on the limit, and the injectors would be probably right on the limit, but you could get away with fully 85. So this car is ready to go. I mean, this is, again, factory stuff. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool when I'm kind of an ethanol fan. I know some people don't like it because it taxes our farm system and it's subsidized and blah, 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 but you know, we can get political, but I don't like getting political in my YouTube videos. So I like it. It's made in the United States and it does this. It makes more power. That's what I really care about. So, awesome stuff. Happy to see that. We'll see what the customer says. That's going to be a surprise because maybe he's not an E85 fan, but again, then he doesn't have to run it. Doesn't matter. We can just all go right back to, the sensor was reading 0% and it's reading 75%. So he must have been, I'm assuming he was running 91 octane, no ethanol is my guess at the timing and just basically the way the fueling was and stuff. So yeah, 14 horse, 14 torque, headers, cold air, factory flex fuel, cop car, pretty cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Check back on the channel for some more videos. And I got some supercharged stuff coming up. And another 427. Hopefully that'll be in the next couple weeks. But yeah, take it easy.